I just kind of said like what you say now kind of thing, and anything else to say, because obviously Joanne just ran it in from 60, so if I just said like he was, I didn't say anything like what you're on about kind of thing. I don't think it was actually him.
Hello and welcome to this week's RugbyPass Offload with Ryan Wilson and Max Leif. And later on the show, we'll be joined by the tyrant of Twickenham, Scotland fly half, and a friend of the show, of course, in Finn Russell. But before we get into that, right, we don't like praising too much, but you did predict Scotland win by a point. It was by 6, but wow, what a result.
Boys, I've not stopped smiling. It was such a good weekend. What a game. What a game of rugby. I know you were there because I saw you getting some fans in trouble outside the stadium with some hilarious content.
Very good.
And I know you were in London, but again, his communication is absolutely disgraceful. You are
radio silence up until the last hour of the wee early morning.
Yeah, where you guys at? We've
been there the whole time.
The whole time. Well, anyway, let's.
Oh gosh.
Let's talk quickly about. You had a few. We had a couple of cold ones.
Yeah, it's just a couple.
Speaking of which, how does a case of free beer sound?
Oh,
pretty good.
Sounds
there we
lovely.
go. Modelled beautifully. Celebrate the start of the Six Nations. Our pals at Beer 52 offering you a free case of delicious craft beer. Simply go to www.beer52.com/offload and cover the meagre postage cost of, I think it's $5.95. Let me just get T's and C's out of the way. Claim your free case. 8 unique craft beers now. Boys have got some out already. Tuck in.
After Saturday, I said I didn't really want to have a beer again, but you have already made me slip up over the road. So
I just say, I really like these dainty, like microbrewery labels. Like someone's really put some passion and effort into the crafting of that wonderful art.
We were talking about it last week.
God.
So harsh.
But you're right. I had this one last week. That's why I've swapped
Switched
that one
it up.
over because I know that I loved it. Are you not having one?
Right hand.
Am I supposed to be having one?
I think you are.
Fine. First chop haze. Ooh, that looks all right. Just to remind everyone, Beer 52, if you don't remember from last week, it is the biggest beer club in the world. Each month, their beer experts carefully curate a case of incredible beers from a different part of the world for their members to enjoy. So far, members have experienced beers from 40 different countries spanning 5 continents. Now, it's crisp craft lagers, big, juicy pale ales, like the one is that what I've got here? Hazy IPA.
I've just realised I picked the strongest one. That's obviously why I've...
Automatically, your hand just goes towards it. But look, if you could try the best beers from across the world with the UK's #1 beer club. If it's dark beer, that's not your thing. Choose the light-only case. You can learn all about the beers, breweries, and regions in the ever-insightful Ferment magazine. You get a couple of tasty snacks as well, which I did actually have the other day. Oh, we got some here. They are absolutely... No,
those ones, I had those.
These were absolutely banging.
That's what I was...
Darling
That's
corn.
another reason last week's episode was really poor. I was crunching away on them halfway through the episode.
Literally not a
my
care in the world, just
internet
eating. I'm like, can we get into this? But anyway, even then, if you're still unsatisfied, you can simply pause or cancel anytime. www.beer52.com/offload. Claim your free case now. That's beer52.com/offload. Right, let's get to the rugby, boys. Incredible Scottish victory at Twickenham. Max, English perspective, what did you make of it? Were you disappointed by that performance?
Nah, I've actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great game. There's a
It
lot
was. It was a
everyone's
good
calling for everyone's heads already, and I'm just like, it's Eddie Jones's fault still. Clive Woodward's lambasting him to this day. I couldn't believe how much of a narrative that was.
I know.
Even the commentators were dropping digs on him, and he's gone. I was just like, mate, let it go, lad.
He's over there in Oz crying.
Yeah, I know. Oh, mate. But
See
I
him
thought,
crying?
He did cry.
It was crocodile tears, wasn't it? He's in there going, it's really great to be back and, matey over there. And he started crying in the... It's emotional.
Patriotic glee.
It's emotional being back. And he started crying.
Oh, right. Nice. I like that.
I can't believe you didn't see it. No, it was...
Oh, you thought it was just... I don't know. Do you reckon?
No, it wasn't fake. Yeah, it was fake. Yeah, I'm going to say it's fake. But anyway, yeah.
But yeah,
it's funny
I thought it
how
was
he's still
good.
getting the blame.
Yeah, well, I was like, this is quite cynical. But anyway, the rest of it was great. I thought there was so much ambition from both teams. flinging it around. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was class. And obviously, Duhan, Ivan Drago, full Homelander. He went to another level. Super Saiyan 3. It was mental. One of the great tries like we've witnessed in the Six Nations. Unbelievable.
It was so good.
The behemoth.
Mate, in the stadium as well.
Yeah, it must have got weird.
It almost felt like there was more Scots there than English.
Yeah, I think they knew.
And I know,
there was blood in the water. Yeah,
it's very corporate, isn't it? Twickenham, very, very corporate, and you've got the good sweaties over there. We were loving it, absolutely loving
no
it.
doubt.
But that try was ridiculous. Can I just say that it all go down? Listen, it was incredible what he did, but little subtle things in it that you see.
What did you enjoy? The ball change to Fen Dombrand.
Oh, yeah.
Naughty.
I saw that straight off, like being a purist in the game. I spotted that straight off, the little transfer. But George Turner, who had a fantastic game, by the way, unbelievable
he was
hooker for Scotland. He was absolutely melting guys left, right, and centre. He played really well. But his little line, he's chasing back and just gives Farrell that little block. And that's what gets Dewey on the run. Once you get past a couple, remember, when you're behind someone and he's going to make the tackle and then he breaks it, suddenly you're on edge and then everything starts going wrong. So once you get past that first line of defence, things do start to go wrong. But my goodness, it was like a child's game, wasn't it? Just him bouncing everyone off,
it was
running
just
past
beautiful.
it. Even Freddie Stewart, I think it was Freddie Stewart. He even made him look like a small boy trying to tackle him.
Yeah, but we've always known about that. He's just the apex of athleticism on the edge right now.
He, like in the way he took his try right at the end as well, which let's talk about that try. 75 minutes, needing, I'll go for it really quickly. Kyle Stain marks the ball, puts it long. So we're not trying to chase the game too much. We're still happy to kick. England give it back and off we go. And like edge-to-edge stuff, playing all sorts of rugby. That ball then from Finn across to Fraser Brown, who then fires a 10-metre pass, like bang on to Richie Gray, who managed to just tip it on. Been doing it all year for Glasgow. Matt Fagerson puts it perfectly in front of Duhan van der Merwe, and then Big Dewey
just does the biz here.
And who's coming across the cover? Our old mate Faz. I've got him, lads. And he doesn't. He sticks an arm out, hoping for the best. But it's a horrible place to defend. But he wasn't very good in defence. He was not very good. He was looking to target Finn. He missed that tackle. He got blocked by George Turner. I don't know. I don't think he was on form.
Do you reckon the game plan was to like sort of lay here, get into Finn?
Oh, definitely.
100%.
I reckon the old tackle school's got to Faz though. I think he's starting to worry about
the scrutiny he's under.
Yeah, I think he's like a bit not tackle eye. Was that accent? I'm not sure, but they were definitely going after Finn.
Yeah,
we'll ask him. We'll ask him when he gets on, but they were going after.
And we need to find out as well what he said.
Well, and that was
nice.
So we'll find out.
Those little bits made it even more theatrical. It was just a great game. I really enjoyed it.
What do you reckon he said before he comes on? I want you to tell me in a Scottish accent and Finn's accent. God. What you reckon he said to Farrell? You can do like a little. I have to say something in Scottish, like, "Right, big man, what's happening? Aye, what's happening, big man?"
Hey, how do you like those apples, you shit house? And then he just fucking jogged on. I reckon that's what it was.
How do you like them apples, you shit house? I hope that's it. Imagine Finn comes on and he's like, I just said, like them apples, you shit house.
That's the sort of like the timing of the game, like that sort of situation. I can imagine some sort of like slander like that.
But we love that, don't we? Like people go, oh, that's. But a little bump on the way in. He can see Dewey going in.
It's happened to me so many times. Yeah,
because
when you get pumped and then they just give you a bit, let you know, I'll put you on rollerblades. You got more reverse gears than an Italian tank, that sort of thing.
But it was a bloody good game. Like, they score, we score, they score, we score. That's what you want. That is what you want. And, like, it was physical as well. Being there, 85, 90,000 people, and you can still, some of the shots that were going in, people were coming off that field absolutely wrecked. It was a monstrous game, and they'll be sore for it next week, I tell you.
We've seen Scotland, there's been some great wins over the years. You've been involved in many of them, but from your perspective, was that the most complete Scottish performance you've seen?
No, I wouldn't say the most complete, because how many tries did England score? Did they score 4? 3? 4?
4. Yeah, they scored the same. No, 3. Sorry, 3.
Yeah, so
Okay.
still 3 tries. They won't be happy with that. And I don't know. I don't think England were that good in defence. Was it the most complete? No, probably not. Probably not the most complete. I've seen that game in 2018. It was an incredible game as well. First time in 10 years when we won it. And like some of the stuff again, it was talking about Finn, some of his passes. Hugh Jones was involved in that one. Hugh Jones, Sione Tuipulotu, those boys.
Yeah, that was nice.
I'm so excited about the Scotland team at the moment.
Yeah,
especially the backs.
I could tell, yeah.
And they're clicking.
Yeah, it looks naughty. Looks well balanced.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Speaking of combos, the positional nightmare that was never really resolved under Eddie Jones, the one we've touched upon a few times before. What did we make of that 10, 12, 13 England combo, Max?
So it's getting absolutely assaulted in the press. Lambasted, one might say. Absolutely. I don't know, like Faz has played very well at 12 for England in the past. Maybe not in this sort of, in the last, how many games have him and Smith had so far?
It's like saw a stat, but I think they've only won like 4 out of the 9 where the 2 of them have played 10 and 12, something like that.
There's obviously some kind of, it's not quite, it's a little bit incoherent, isn't it? I think with George Ford at 10, it seemed to work more fluidly, didn't it? Whereas Marcus Smith's much more eyes up, have a crack. But it's difficult. Like, Marcus Smith is so fun to watch. I thought him and Finn were just great. I know, like, Marcus is getting a bit slammed for some decisions he did, like the where he took the short side and got pushed into touch. But I was like, if he comes back off his left against JP now, he's got a WP. He's got a shot at making that a try. So can you leave Marcus Smith out? That's the question. I think everyone's saying yes. Put Faz in because Sarri's at the top of it. He's a proven winner. He's the man, and he is the man. I concur with that completely. It's just, I can understand the absolute headache Steve Borthwick's got of trying to make this thing work, and potentially, yeah, it's time to call it quits. But if it's only like 8 games, surely there's more time for this thing to maybe bloom into something beautiful. But at this point, it's tough. They still almost won the game.
Excuse me.
Like, that was a competitive game. They still almost won the match.
But that's the English public. They go,
oh, man, I couldn't
Scotland are
believe
crap.
it.
But they're not.
They're
Scotland
not. No,
are bloody
Scotland are a good
and
team.
People
Yeah.
underestimate Scotland, but that's 3 years in the bounce now. We've beaten
5
England.
out of 6.
Yeah.
5 out of
Calcutta
6.
Cup.
We've kept the cup, but we've beaten them 3 years on the trot now. And still, there's a little bit of arrogance where everyone's like, "Whoa, we should be absolutely hammering." No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't.
I know, they just expect it, yeah.
I'll tell you what I found really interesting is if you watch the game back, and I noticed it whilst I was there because I'm a rugby nose now. Farrell sat and played 10 most of the game, first 60 minutes. He sat at 10. He was out the back of the pod every time. And Smith ends up at 12. It was really weird. If you go back and watch it, there was quite a few times where he sits at 10 and Smith goes to 12. And then towards the end, when the game started to break up a bit, it switched round. And I reckon it was to try and maybe loosen up the game, free up the game a little bit. But I don't know. You go back and have a look over the game. There were so many instances. Farrell sits at 10, Smith sits at 12.
Well, we were interviewing people outside the stadium. And
There was
a lot of chat about that, the combinations, and a lot of people saying, like, for the first time he's fit and not picked, Manu Tuilagi. Are you, from a Scottish perspective, more scared of facing 17-stone Manu? I mean, it sounds obvious. Or Owen Farrell is a phenomenal competitor.
100%, I'd have him in.
My only caveat to that is, at this point, and obviously Manu is a freak show demigod of destruction when it comes to the game of rugby. But right now, he's not quite the same player as people are thinking he is.
All right, but Ollie Lawrence isn't he got 3 minutes? It's something like 3 or 4 minutes. You're like,
yeah,
what
I know.
are
They
you
should
doing?
have introduced him a bit earlier. I concur. Yeah, like Ollie Lawrence is in some kind of form right now, and he can unlock defenses with some sort of weirdness. So yeah, I agree.
I suppose were they thinking defensively? Because you think we brought Chris Harris on, I think 10 minutes to go, and that's not as attacking. He's more of a defensive player. But I think
taper a game off.
Tooney trusted his subs there, brought them all on, got them all on. George Horn picked up the speed of the game, and the subs made a bit of a difference. Came on and played really well. Jack Dempsey carried really well in that try leading up to the end. God, who else? Like all the boys that came off the bench were really sharp. I mean, George Horn will be nipping at the heels of Ben White
Yeah.
to try and start because he's such a good player. And he sped up the ball, and I saw a thing on it and how quick the ball was for Scotland in the last 10 minutes. Last 10 minutes, you are blowing out your hoop.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
You certainly are, and I certainly am.
100%.
So,
yeah.
and do you know what? It's actually harder coming off the bench.
Oh, mate. Isn't that... you know how I hate when I come off the bench, right?
It's
and
weird.
The coach is like, you've been on 5 minutes, Max. What are you doing here? I'm hauling ass because I ain't got second wind, boss.
Yeah, and everyone's up to speed. Everyone's up to speed.
they're
And
in
they
the
expect
flow.
you to get up to speed
And you're like...
instantly. You're like, whoa.
Yeah,
whoa.
your serotonin, they're all out of whack. You're just breathing like an asthmatic ant with heavy shopping. You're in trouble. You're in real trouble.
That's exactly the analogy I was going to use.
Yeah.
I was just about to say
You were just
the asthmatic ant.
Mate, horrible. Horrible.
But like those boys that came on,
yeah, there's a real art to it.
yeah, there is. And
There
they
is.
came on and added, and that last 10 minutes is the worst 10 minutes ever. Everyone's blowing that's been on there for 80 minutes. Or 70 minutes, sorry. And then the guys that have just come on are blowing because they're like, what's wrong with me? My lungs are broken. I've just smoked a deck of 20 before this. That's what I feel like. But yeah, they managed to do it. And they were getting rucks under 2 seconds, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
And
that is very difficult to live with if you're in the defence, yeah.
what a beautiful game.
It
this
was
is.
good.
Imagine if we changed the tackle height to below the waist now.
Okay, no,
I'd
we're not really
ruin it.
tackling into this, just into this one.
Open
But,
Pandora's box.
Max,
yeah.
off the basis of what we saw and a year of potentially what we could deem creative failure, what's your perfect England 10, 12, 13 combination?
Oh, God, that's so difficult. See, on some days I'm like, why don't we just go full jouet, just throw Marcus Smith in there. And but then you're getting rid of one of the most successful Englishmen in the white shirt, and you give him full ownership of that attack and just let him get weird. And I know there's an argument for but international rugby, there's less space. There's not that, and I'm just like, well, the thing I love about Marcus Smith is he doesn't mind having a crack. He doesn't mind making mistakes. I think a lot of rugby now we're so hung up on when players make mistakes and how that sort of results in fixtures, but I think those are the players like Finn Russell, like Capuoso, those guys who just recklessly go for it and have a crack. But if I wanted to win, if it was the World Cup final tomorrow, I'd go with Owen Farrell.
Farrell at 10. Might as well chuck 9 into the conversation as well. So you go and Ben Youngs.
Yeah.
I kind of like Alex Mitchell, to be honest.
Right,
I like him a lot.
So Alex Mitchell.
I'd go Alex Mitchell. I'd go
Owen Farrell.
maybe Alex Mitchell's rogue though, but I'd put Alex Mitchell in there. Then I put Faz in there at 10. Then at 12 I'd have
Slade's fit. Is he not in?
I don't know. Do I want Slade in there?
I don't know.
Slade 12, Lawrence 13. Then I'd give that a run for a bit and see what the crack is.
Fair enough. Well, I was going to throw something at you. Cheeky stats, Ryan.
Ooh, hello.
Scotland have never won their opening 2 games of the Six Nations.
Bloody hell.
That's interesting.
Oh, and this is the worry, isn't it? Because we've such a good performance. And we've done it before. I've seen it before. We saw it last year, didn't we? The opening game, and then go down and lose against Wales. But the only hope we really have is it's back at Murrayfield. I couldn't think of a better way to have it round. Go down and beat England. We're not going down to the Principality. We're playing at Murrayfield, and that's a blessing in disguise because that's a different place. Even after they got hammered by the Irish, I still wouldn't want to go down there and play them. They're different. They're different down there, especially against Scotland, and we've not had much luck. So back at Murrayfield, I would put a lot of money on Scotland still doing the job, and I think it's a big. I reckon there's 3 wins, and then it's just taking one of the scalps of the French or the Irish, and I think we can do it against the French. It's going to be over there, the only difficult thing. But I just think the Irish are so good at the moment.
Okay, well, let's close that off
good
from the
bet.
Scottish perspective. Now, from the English perspective, that's the 4th time in a row England have lost their opening match. But Max, was that team recognisably any different to the Eddie Jones era from your perspective?
I think so.
Because there's different players in there.
Well,
Because he finally picked Dombrant and...
Well, I thought Ludlam was very good. He was
Yes.
all over the park, link playing. He was class in that.
We like him.
We
second
like
try.
him. We like him.
Absolute boy. I thought Chesham was looking like he's going to be there for a while now.
Yeah. He looked
Ollie
good.
Chess
He was
like
better than the
big,
Tojo.
big
Yeah,
freak.
Tojo, you
Throw
didn't
some
really
temp-
see much.
Yeah, I know he was a bit off, but he'll come. Mate, what class? He'll come good. But maybe there's some lingering Eddie Jones fingerprints on the team. Eh? I'm gonna throw my lot in with the press. Yeah, it's all Eddie Jones's fault. No, I don't think so.
Not just the press though, Max. Hang on. Steve Borthwick said the team he inherited from Eddie Jones weren't good at anything in the sense of one particular area
I
was
see.
above
So he's saying he
another. He's
didn't-
not saying we weren't good at anything. He was saying there wasn't a specific area.
Niche that they
Yeah.
were like, we are the world, we're the best at this. Okay.
He didn't say they were bad, but also not
So
particularly good.
that would indicate that he's looking to cause some more massive changes, wouldn't it? In terms of like personnel, maybe. Because obviously he's handicapped by how many he can select at one time.
Yeah, yeah, or get good at one part, which would be box kicking and chasing the life out of it.
I know, but I still thought the waltz, the flow, like the in attack when they were in that sort of in the Scottish half looked like pretty good. Like I thought Carl Sinclair in that had some moments.
Yeah, I was never too worried.
You just thought it wasn't stretched them enough.
No, and the only times, obviously, that kick from Marcus Smith, by the way,
Oh,
like to put Max,
consummate.
yeah, and that was
Yeah.
lovely. Do you know what I mean? Little touches
Max
like that.
Malins with the
And to be fair,
touch of Jesus.
the way
yeah.
they played to then narrow the defence up, I suppose put them in that position. But Don Brand
roster.
didn't do as well as I had hoped he would.
Yeah, you could see like Marcus trying to throw that inside ball, that like the sort of the
Yeah,
quid
yeah,
special and stuff. But yeah, I think he'll come good, mate. Bloke's awesome.
Okay, boys, let's move on to the game in the Principality, Wales versus Ireland. I mean, the Irish absolutely steamrolling the hosts.
Yeah, I was a bit.
Are they better than we've even discussed before in your mind?
No,
No, I don't. No, I don't. I think just Wales weren't very good.
with you on that.
They were pretty poor. in
Did you see?
defence.
I just thought in D they were just making like I know
Soft.
Caelan Doris is the man right now. He is the boy, but he literally looked like Jonah Lomu of old on some of those carries.
Yeah, It
And
was
he is a big
ridiculous.
fella, but like he ain't
Yeah.
that. He ain't that. Like he ain't Kal-El. Do you know what I mean? It was meant. It was
And
meant.
even like I know it was right at the end, the last try, Van der Fleur, but it just sort of walks in, and you're like,
Yeah.
what is going on here? Like, what they just
Yeah,
gave up. It
like
was-
you know those. Yeah, you know when they got to the sort of the try line and they started the pick and go game,
You
and then they
just
just one pass and Geezer's falling over the line.
Yeah, and you normally look at it and go, when Ireland get in here, they always score, and they do. But I think there was
But they didn't
also
work
very
so hard for them.
apparent that Wales' defence wasn't very good when they got in there.
Yeah, but boys, you mentioned before on the pod that defence is a kind of mindset almost above
Yeah.
anything. Like you
That's what
want
I
to be
was-
running through a brick wall,
Mm.
you know, for your coach, for your teammates. It's the trust in the system.
First game of Six Nations.
What
et cetera.
happens to Wales? Like,
Do you reckon Wazza's come in there and just laid the law down? He's absolutely smoked the lads. They've been beasted all week up to the Six Nations first game, lads.
They brought all the
And
old
they've-
boys back
yeah,
in, didn't
and
they?
they're just absolutely dust from a gauntlet. Just Thunderdome, 30 men enter, 15 men leave. That's the 15 I'm starting with, boys.
And then they'll come good next week.
And then you're playing. Yeah, do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just throwing out a narrative because they did look. They just looked a bit
didn't
like
look-
jaded, didn't they? Like, and
Yeah.
you know these guys are class. Like a lot of those boys are, like Morgan and that Tippery. They've been playing their absolutely out of their skins for Ospreys, and they just looked a bit.
It
off
clearly doesn't work changing your coach like 2 weeks before a big.
I
big
know, it's no
tournament.
joke. You're about to play one of the most well-orchestrated teams in
Yeah.
Irish history. Absolute mental team.
Does he keep playing those boys next week? Does he give them all a second chance, or does he go for a few youngsters?
I don't know, but was
Because that Dyer, he played well, didn't he? The winger, he was bloody
yeah,
good.
he was. He looked lively, didn't he?
Yeah.
Loose, but he was lively. I thought he looked like he wanted to have a
Yeah. Whereas some of the old boys,
Cuthbert looked good as well when he was on. I thought he was decent.
So I think what we've found, our conclusion maybe, is Ireland were good, but Wales weren't very good at all. Agreed?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how when I was watching it, I was like, the boys look a little bit. Yeah.
if you're Warren Gatland, what do you change to make Wales more competitive?
I think he goes with the same sort of team. I think he goes second chance, gives everyone another chance.
I feel like they're missing just a few like absolute hitmen grafters though. Do you know what I mean? Like you got Tipperick, absolute attacker. You got Morgan, pretty much an attacker. Oh, don't get me wrong, he's good.
I don't
over
think
the ball.
George North's the centre.
Yeah, but he's actually had a few good games there. I thought it was looking good, but yeah, I don't know. I reckon rerun the fun.
Just so, play same team. I hope so. And then hopefully.
Oh,
they'll stay
really?
the same.
You're like, if they play, so if you see those guys, and we've discussed how fabulous that Wales squad is in terms of what they've achieved, what they've
That's
done
true.
at the highest
know,
level in
but
the
just-
game, you're laughing,
a
saying you
week's-
come up to Murrayfield
a
and put that
week's a
team
long
out there, we're
time.
absolutely eating you for breakfast.
It's a long time in pro rugby, boy.
Quick prediction: Scotland versus Wales, boys.
I'll let him go first.
My problem with Scotland is there's always a lot that's promised.
They've never backed it up. You're right. They've never have it. Hey,
Yeah.
hold on. Going back to that, we've never done it. Is that
Do you know what I
you
mean?
said earlier?
Yeah.
We've never done it.
And like right now, it is looking like the planets have aligned, but I'm not so sure. Maybe the flower will shrivel and die again. No,
The
okay.
thistle. No, you go for it.
I think there's going to be a big, big, big Welsh reaction, and we're going to remember who we're talking about.
Daffodil.
I'm going to go for the daffodil
I'm going for the prickly thistle.
by 2.
Give me the actual score, though.
I have no idea, but it's going to be tight. I'm going to go like 23-21.
I'm going to say 28 to Scotland, 13 to Wales.
Oh, comprehensive
28
victory.
13.
Big guns. Look at he's still riding that sort of heady
Rickshaw.
wave. Yeah, he's
Yeah. Patriotic ecstasy is upon him. Yeah.
Come back here. Mark was in the back
No.
saying, go, whipping me.
Bush husky. Yeah.
Right, we are delighted to be joined now by the star of the show from Twickenham in Scotland fly half, Finn Russell. Finn, fabulous result from your perspective. How good was that?
No, it was awesome. It's obviously good to get a tournament off and a win, but I think to beat England down there is always special for a Scotsman. So, no, it was good. Obviously, I think the game as well was good. I think the way it kind of went was we were ahead, they were ahead. It kind of went back and forward a little bit. So, I think it was a good game, but obviously good for us to get the win at the end.
Too bloody right. I tell you what, I enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it after. You missed a bit. Mark made me steal a rickshaw.
I
I was only messing about, but
I didn't make him do anything, Finn. He quite literally stole a rickshaw when a guy was taking a piss, and he just went off like fucking Chris Hoy down the high street.
just to make sure everyone realises the bloke thought it was funny afterwards, so we're fine. Finn, talk to me. Was it just 2 beers or
We just flew back after it, so yeah.
straight back
Actually
after?
yeah, I flew back up that night, so a couple of beers in the aftermatch, then that was about it. So I don't think we got to the hotel till about 12:30. So boys from Edinburgh and Glasgow went home, and there's just a few exiles left in the hotel, so quite chilled actually after.
So no one
yes.
knows.
Loose lip sync ships.
You know, this is filmed as
No,
well,
no,
Finn.
no,
Just
no.
so you know.
Big smile on
Yeah,
his
big
face.
smile.
Look at him.
Yeah. It's cat that got the cream.
So you're back to doing the post-match functions now. Obviously with COVID, and I know that they've changed a bit at Murrayfield, haven't they? Now they're a little less formal. The one.
Yes, that's the first one that we've done that's been like a sit-down kind of meal and speeches and stuff. In the November series, it was like we just went up in tracksuits and you just kind of stand around. There's a couple of speeches, but it's a lot more relaxed, less formal now.
I bet that made it better for you after winning as well. 3rd time on the bounce. Smug as you like. Can you imagine it? I mean, I've been smug and I wasn't involved in it. So I can just imagine the old Conor McGregor arms coming out. Mate, and just one more thing, Finn. Talk to me about the...
The shuckers.
I did it, I think last year maybe, when we beat them at Murrayfield, I did it for a laugh. I thought, oh, we'll just do it again. Just a bit of fun after it, wasn't it? So, I was at the front and I didn't want to do the big celebration fist pump thing, so I thought I'd do something different.
Yeah, because VP's next to you looks like such a dad, doesn't he? He's like, belly's out. And you're just like that next to him. Oh, no. Hey, people love it. The people love it. That's why the people love Finn Russell.
On RugbyPass, I don't know if you saw the one where it just focuses in on you out of everyone celebrating, and it was like coolest man in the stadium.
Yeah, I had that sent to me a few times actually, yeah.
But what was the plan, Finn, going into the game on how to disrupt England? Because obviously with a new coach, there probably wasn't as much intel to go off as usual.
Yeah, so we tried to kind of watch them more individually. So me and the centre did a bit of work on like Marcus, Farrell, Marchant, or if Manu was going to play, did a bit of like more individual analysis. We looked back at the Leicester Saracens final last year, how much they kicked it. So we actually spoke a lot about just staying in the kicking battles. But for the backs, it was more finding out individuals how they defend. Instead of trying to look at the defensive setups and how the defence is going to be. Like we could look at Leicester and how they defend, obviously with their defence coach going in. But then with Marcus and Marchant at 10 and 13, it might have more been a bit like Harlequin's defence, where we weren't really too sure. So it was quite hard to prep for it actually. But we sort of focused on ourselves and then looked at them individually rather than as a collective team.
Were you surprised they started Farrell and Smith at 10 and 12?
Well, we'd heard through the week it was going to be Faz at 10, and then when they got a couple of injuries, I think, we then started hearing that Manu wasn't going to play and it was going to be Marcus and Faz. So we weren't really sure what team to expect, but then, like I said, they got a few injuries, so we sort of narrowed it down a little bit. But yeah, it was, like I say, it was kind of tough to prep, not knowing what the squad was going to be, how they were going to try and play, and who they were going to pick. So it was an interesting kind of week's build up.
We were chatting about it earlier. Do you reckon they were trying to target you a little bit?
A little bit, I think, yes.
What made you think that?
Just a couple of shots after the ball, maybe, or a bit of pressure on me. But no, it was a 10. It's normal. Like teams are going to try and put you under pressure. I think one that put Hugh Jones through early on, Faz kind of came out the line to get me. And then, like, I don't know, 10 minutes later, he banged me one of them. So, it doesn't really bother me if teams do that. It kind of opens up space elsewhere, like we saw when Shuggy went through and stuff. So, if someone sells themselves so much like that so early, that it's easy to then play around them.
You say it doesn't bother you though, but you had it. There's obviously a clip doing the rounds, me old mate, and of you maybe having a little whisper in the old ear on the way after Dewey's try. So talk to us. Come on. Max has already given us his version of what you said in a Scottish accent. And hold on. How did it go, Max?
How'd you like them apples, big man?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't his shit house.
Oh, no, shit house. Yeah. Shit house.
Nah, it was because Faz had just banged me before that and I lost the ball. Then they kicked it long. When I was in the ground, I thought it was Faz, but I think it was actually Marcus and Marchant that were like mouthing off to me in the ground. But then as soon as Duhan went through, I saw Faz, I went straight for him to give him a mouthful back. And then Marcus after it. So,
and what was the matter?
It wasn't actually anything that much. I just kind of said like what you say now kind of thing and anything else to say, because obviously we were mouthing off to me and Duhan just ran it in from 60, so it wasn't that much.
Did you say anything back?
But well, Faz just said like I didn't say anything, like what you're on about kind of thing. Because I don't think it was actually him. So after the game, I was like, yes, that was a bit of shit chat. I didn't know. I thought I had my face kind of almost on the ground, so I thought it was him, or I assumed it was him, but I don't think it actually was.
Yeah, because you do the classic Finn Russell reaction, like just, and I often take up this technique, just laugh at them, and it makes people more angry, doesn't it? And I could see you getting up from that tackle, just laughing, and some people look at you and go, oh, he obviously doesn't care, but that's the best way to react to stuff like that.
Yeah, I find it all quite, not funny, but like if they're trying to take me out, then obviously you're under their skin a little bit, or they're obviously focusing so much on you that there's other options around them. So I sort of laugh about it. It's just how it is. I don't mind it at all to try and put me under pressure or hit me off the ball or try and get into me like that. I find it quite funny and I'm happy enough to give it back out as well.
Finn, I've watched it a few times. Actually, when you first start chirping back, Duhan hasn't scored yet.
Yeah, I know.
So what was your thinking at the time?
Well, I just saw him make the break and then I thought I'm just going to go and have a mouth off back to Farrell. If we did get tackled, then I was still running towards where we were going to play the next phase. So.
Not very fast. You cut with shoulder barges on the way there. Yeah, you imagine he hadn't gone over.
I had confidence in Duhan,
Yeah.
I'll say that, but I think but just at the time I just thought I was mouth off to him, and then like I say, like when I was running, it was kind of if he was to get tackled at the end, I could have still been in a position to play off it. So it'd have been all right, I think.
That shot on you from Faz, was it a high tackle from your point of view?
No, I wouldn't say so. I thought it was right. It was kind of like my upper arm hit, I think. It wasn't a high shot. It was a good shot, to be honest. I I was kind of looking at pass, and then Hoggy was saying to kick it through. So I was kind of in two minds, and he just caught me. So it was a good defence by him, to be fair.
Finn's not like Sexton. He won't milk it.
That's true.
You see Sexton milking that one at the weekend, lying on the floor like, I shot Liam Williams. Was it Liam Williams? Yeah, and he got a yellow card, didn't he, Liam Williams? And it was never a high shot, but it was because Sexton was milking it. Do you think people are milking stuff more in rugby at the moment, Finn?
Probably. There's just such an emphasis around obviously high tackles just now that anything around upper chest and head, neck kind of area, if you go down, the ref's going to have to look at it on the TMO. So, in a test match or in a game, if you can get someone yellow carded off a tackle like that, it's a big advantage. So it might not actually be because they're injured. Obviously it's more just to get the ref to have a look at it.
Finn, if you happen to be Steve Borthwick in a separate life, what would you be picking as your sort of 10, 12, 13 combo?
We thought they were maybe going to go Marcus and Faz with Tuolangi, so Tuolangi can get them to go forward, and they're going to have two ball players to play with, and two kicking options because they kick it a lot. But when they had Marchant, they almost they've got strike runners, but not as much as if they had Manu out there. So it allowed us to maybe stop them a bit more first phase to then not stop their attack, but then they probably just didn't get the ball they wanted. So I don't know the players that well to play alongside them, so it's hard to say what I would go with. And again, depending who do they play Italy this week, it might be better going to Marcus this week for a bit of X factor. But then looking at how Italy played, it could also be better to go with Farrell to maybe control the game a little bit better, and then Marcus coming on later on to when it's a bit more open and the Italians are maybe a bit more tired. So like I said, I don't know the English players that well personally, so it's hard to say what the best option is. But I think it was hard for them first game because they had a few injuries, obviously. A couple of centres went down, so it's probably tough for them to decide.
From the Scottish side of things, you've been in this situation before in your career where, you've won the opening round of a Six Nations game. You're riding that wave, and then it comes crashing down because you lose round two every time after you've won the opening round. What is it different this time round?
I hope so. No, I think the last 5 times we won the first game, we've never won the second game. So after the England game, obviously, like I said, we're really happy, but we knew we could have played maybe a bit better and done things differently. And it seemed a bit different after the game. It was like, okay, we've got that win, now we need to get on to the next one. It wasn't like massive celebrations because we've beaten England.
That's because we're so used to it, Finn. We're so used to it now.
No.
And that's why. It's just the norm now.
Well, I don't want to say it, but...
It is. 5 out of 6 times we've kept the cup and we've done the last 3 on the bounce. So, sorry, carry on. It's the norm now, so that's why maybe a little bit less celebrations.
I don't know. I think maybe we went down there not expecting to win, but like confident in ourselves. So when we got the win, it was like, okay, we were probably confident that we're going to get, or we backed ourselves that we're good enough to get that win. So when we got it, it's like, okay, that's the job done there. And now how do we go on to the next one? So, but it's easy to say that now. It's about just like making sure we have a good week's training and then perform at the weekend. I think 2 years ago we'd maybe beaten England first up, and then we were ahead of Wales at the half time. Then we got a red card and lost the game. We all do and almost scored towards the end, but didn't manage to win that game, and we probably should have. So although the first game's done, it's like you can't think that we've beat England, we'll beat Wales, even though they got beaten at the weekend. But I don't think the scoreline. I've not seen the game, but I've heard it didn't really replicate the game almost. Like the Welsh and Irish stats we saw on today were pretty similar in the game. So although it's quite a heavy defeat, they seemed like quite even teams, apart from the scoreline. So I think it'll be different. It'll be different this weekend. It'll be tough again. So we just need to get ourselves right and try and back it up. But that's something that we've struggled with in the past.
Might want to watch that one before you play next week.
Were you surprised by the atmosphere at Twickenham, where certainly from where I was sitting and probably Ryan in the box is having the time of his life, but where it almost felt like it was a Scotland home game at some point?
I think for the anthems it was as loud as I've heard it in an away game almost for Scotland. Obviously there was obviously more English fans, but I think there were so many Scottish fans that were down there. I wasn't expecting the anthems to be like that. And then, like you say, in the game, I think through some of the tries we scored, especially Duan's, both of his, it really came to life, which was great. And it makes a difference when you're away from home. Sometimes one decision can. I think England, they got a penalty off a scrum, kicked it down, and got another penalty in front of the post to go ahead at the end. And usually you'd have like 70,000 fans against you there, but they were still against us, but it wasn't as much as that. I didn't feel as almost daunting as that maybe had done in the past.
Finn, you were dropped last year from the Scotland squad in a move that obviously shocked the rugby world, none more so than on this pod. And Ryan, apoplectic for most of it. Go back there quickly. When you found out the news, were you the same as everybody else who watches rugby? You couldn't really believe it at the time?
No, like I sort of said at the time, I suppose me and Gregor's relationship was sort of broken down a little bit at that point. I hadn't really heard from him since the Six Nations, so when they told me that, I wasn't too surprised. And I suppose at the same time, like my girlfriend, she was like, I could have given birth at any point. So for me, I was like, all right, that's fine. I can just focus about being back here in Paris and making sure she's all good. So I had another thing to kind of focus on and deal with, which was all right. It was obviously, it's not ideal not getting picked for the squad, but these things happen, I suppose. So with the top 14 this season, the games kept going. So I had a game the week after that and the week after that, as well as Emma almost being ready to give birth. So I had a few other things going on as well. So it probably made me not be too down or anything about it, or not overthink it, because I had something else to go on to the next day pretty much.
Do you think, from Gregor Townsend's point of view, he got a response, or the response that he was looking for?
Maybe. I'm not sure, if that's what he was looking for, or, I said I wasn't in form, which is maybe due to the Six Nations that I had. I wasn't my best there, and didn't finish off the season that well, so maybe it was that, and trying other people out as well. So I'm not sure, I've not properly spoke to him after it about his decision, but I spoke to him before I came back in, and we kind of just cleared a few things up, which was good, and then allowed me to come back in and us two to work together really well again. So we kind of just moved on together, which was good, and it's kind of been like that again this Six Nations, which has been good. We've kept in contact after November, and not just rugby stuff, just chatting about things outside of rugby. So I think that helps quite a bit as well. So it's not all just player coach; it's kind of a more normal chat rather than just rugby stuff.
If in a quick one then, and I feel it, Tooney seems a lot more relaxed suddenly, especially over the last few months, and from what I gather, seems a hell of a lot more relaxed. I think that feeds into the team, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's become more relaxed, and I think, like I say, me and him have chatted more off the field, which has probably helped out with me and his relationship. We can just chat normally. Yeah, we'll chat about rugby at times, obviously, but I think he's got a more personable kind of side to him just now, which is good, and he can kind of relate to a lot of the boys. So maybe it makes him more relaxed. He knows that when we get onto the pitch, where everyone's clear, everyone's on the same page, we're all trying to get the same outcome.
You're mentioning, obviously, recently becoming a father. Massive congratulations. I mean, and we've discussed it before, it kind of puts a lot of things in context. Do you think you might be a better fly half now because of this momentous occasion in your life?
Well, he's not allowed to get on the piss as much, is he?
So yes.
That's going to help.
Maybe it might help, might not, never know.
If things start going south, we'll know what the problem is, and you'll have to get you back out there, get a babysitter.
No, I think it probably changed for me when Emma fell pregnant, because then I was like that kind of immediate responsibility. Not that we had the child yet, but that she was coming, and I had to kind of be more responsible, I think. And before it was just me on my own in Paris, and you can kind of do whatever you want. There's no one to come to the house, like go home after games. There's no one there, so you end up going out and actually having a drink or sitting playing PlayStation. So actually, when Emma moved over, it was pretty good for me, because I had someone to go back home to just chat with and have that interaction with, or go and get dinner with her, or do something like that off the field. So there's something else to get away from rugby. So I think that's all been pretty good. It's not just with the birth of my daughter; it's been the whole process, the whole pregnancy, and now the fatherhood. It's probably changed a little bit, which is good. It's nice. It's different, but I think something I was probably ready for. And I think the lifestyle I was living, it was good fun, but I was probably waiting for something like this. A bit more responsibility to then sort of have to change and do things differently. Because in the past, like I say, it was just me living on my own in Paris, so it's different.
I phoned Finn earlier on, and I was with my old man. My old man threatened. He said, "Finn, I want to come and make sure we wet the baby's head together at one point." And he was deadly serious. He was like, "What did he say then?" Did he say yeah? You imagine my old man, he's desperate for it. But the other thing I can't believe, how much she looks like you. It is mental.
I know, everyone's saying that, so Emma was laughing. She's like, I've carried her for 9 months, and she comes out looking like you. How's that fair? Kind of thing. There's been a few people recently saying that she looks a bit more like Emma the older she's getting and changing a little bit. So I don't know. I'm sure she'll be a mix of both of us.
Well, let's touch upon Finn. You're moving to Bath next season. Talk us how that actually came about.
I would have liked to stay in France. I like the life over there. But then, the contract that Rashton offered and Bath offered, and I think, like I said, we'd have loved to stay in Paris, but I think also that change was good as well. So Bath, they kind of were chatting at the start in 2 years or 3 years, and I said I'd like 3 years, and they came back with a 3-year contract, and it was the right thing, I think, for us to do. Emma loves it in Paris as well, but it's hard for her to kind of get to know the other girls in the team because of the language, I think. So she's not isolated, but there's only a couple of foreigner kind of girls that she kind of hangs around with, so she's a bit more isolated over there. Whereas I think in Bath, like Chris Harris, he's just up the road. She gets on really well with his wife and a couple of others, and even for the family to get down, it's a bit easier. So there's a few reasons to come back. But yeah, 3 years will be 33 after that, so I'm not sure what I'll do then. I would like to get back to France at some point. Because I do love it over there, so I'd like to get back to France. So our kids can speak the language as well, and Charlie can get a passport and stuff like that. Would be nice.
What do you love about France so much?
I like the lifestyle. It's different, but I like the lifestyle. The language is hard, but I enjoy speaking it and learning it. It's pretty good. And I think at times you find yourself saying like, "Oh, it's just French. Like, there's no point in trying to go against it." But if you go there and just like, I don't know, fully buy into the club, the culture, the lifestyle, everything, you have a really good experience. And if you can then get the language as well, then it helps a lot. You can then chat with the French boys on a more personal kind of level as well. You can actually chat with them and get to know them better rather than having kind of broken English conversations, which is nice. But I have loved it in France. And I think just now it's like we're looking forward to moving to Bath, but we'll probably miss Paris more than we think when we get back to Bath.
Oh, Paris, I miss you.
It'll be very different, but it's something I'm looking forward to. Even having a little one, bringing her up in Bath would be nice and very different again to Paris, which would be lovely to bring her up there. But being Bath, there's probably more outdoor stuff to do, and it's a smaller city, obviously. But it'll be really nice.
Having the family a bit closer is going to be important as well. So you're going to have to chop the Aston Martin in for something else.
What, like a Volvo estate?
No. Like maybe the Aston Martin Jeep.
Well, I think I'm getting that on Wednesday actually, because I was texting the guy. I've got a sports one just now, and he was like, "Oh, I could be the 4x4 on Wednesday." So he's just getting for the day off, so we can get Charlie in the back of it. So
I love you taking the piss. And
No, I'm not.
And literally Finn's like, "Yeah, Wednesd's coming."
He drove outside the house and was revving it like you wouldn't believe. I'm like, "Mate, stop it! The neighbours are going to fucking complain." Jack's like, "Wow." Absolutely loving it. Can you ask the next thing in French? Because I want you to see how good his French is. It's ridiculous. Big Andy Keane was singing your praises. I saw him the other day, Finn. Go on, ask him.
Tell me, what do you want me to ask Finn in French?
What's the next question?
There's a whole... It's not just a question by fucking numbers. See what happens, see what he gives, and then just ask the next one.
Finn, what's your favourite drink? What's your favourite poison?
C'est quoi ta boisson favorite?
Are you want me to reply in French? Or?
Yeah, obviously. That's the whole point in this fucking question.
It's just Mark showing off his French.
Non, moi je sais pas. C'est dépendant de la nuit. Si je vais pour dîner un steak, peut-être c'est le vin rouge. Mais si c'est un fête après un match, peut-être c'est le vodka ou le champagne, je sais pas.
Arrête. Did you get any of that?
Un petit peu, hein?
I got red wine after a match.
Yeah, red wine with steak. After a match, you said vodka or champagne.
Yeah.
No, guys, genuinely, wait, hang on. How much French did you speak before you went out there, Finn?
I said it at school.
So, like what, GCSE?
And who I think it was, I'm not sure what level that was. The GCSE, then maybe one above it. I think.
Mate, seriously, that's fucking... That's I don't know.
Super, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
C'est très incroyable.
But do you find also, Finn, with that, do you find that then because I grew up in France, mother tongue's French. Everyone's like most people are like French people, particularly in Paris, are difficult. They don't want to talk to you and everything. But actually, it's very different when you can speak French to them. And
Exactly.
you mentioned that before, but have you actually found now that you can get to really know the guys in a completely different way than when you were just not speaking French?
Yeah, I think. Well, in Paris, I think if you're a tourist in Paris, you might find them difficult. But when I went there, I'd try and speak French to them, and then they'd always reply in English to me. But after about a year or 6 months, I would then try and persist, and I'd keep speaking French. They'd keep replying in English. Which for me it was good because I'd be speaking a lot, but then I wouldn't be hearing a lot. And then at the club, the boys would be speaking a lot to me in English, and I'd be replying in French after a while. So actually, everyone said before I went out, "Oh, you'll understand it quicker than you can speak it." But I was the other way around. I was almost speaking it more than I was like understanding it, because all I heard at the club was, well, most of it was English, and then out and about in Paris, most folk would speak to me in French until about a year and a half, and then I said to all the boys in the team, like, you just speak to me in French now because I don't understand that much. Although I'm speaking to you, I don't actually understand that much. And then this was just the better you get, more people in Paris then just speak to you in French as well, rather than English. But also if you start off in French, and then you have to go into English, they can kind of understand that and do that as well. Like my little brother, he just moved to Monaco. I'm just outside Monaco, and he was asking me about it. And I said, just if you go for dinner, make sure you start off trying to speak French. They'll reply to you in one or two answers. If you ask for a table, they'll ask inside or outside, or for how many people. You can kind of preempt what they're going to say back to you. And then even if you don't understand it, they'll then say it to you in English, then you English or whatever. But then the next time you go, you'll know what they're going to say. So you can start to hear it like that. Like I say, when I was there on my own, I was there 4 years on my own pretty much. So at the start, I was just going out with the French boys at weekends, and after a few drinks, then trying to speak to them in French. And on the Mondays, I'd come in, they're like, "Oh no, your French is really good," because I'd speak to them on the night out. But then on the Monday, I wouldn't be speaking to them in any French. So it was quite funny at the start. But
So much better when you're pissed.
It's so good that you've actually got massively stuck into the French culture. But quickly touching upon French rugby in France, living on a high at the moment. Were you surprised by how close that match was with Italy?
Yeah, I think so. I think pretty much everyone was. I thought France, the last 20 minutes, I thought Italy probably tired out, and France managed to run away with it. And also at the start, because Italy were running everything from everywhere, I thought at some point they're going to drop a couple of balls and France were going to jump in the back of them and score, which they almost did, but they didn't manage. And then Italy managed to stay in the game. Who's the fullback?
Capuzzo.
Capuzzo, yeah. He scored that try that kept him in the game. They had a couple of penalties from Tommy Allen that kept him in the game, and it just kept them within sort of reaching distance, and then they went ahead at the end almost. I think most people were surprised, but I think it shows how far Italy have come in the last couple of years.
Fuck, I thought they were going to do it. I was so excited. I thought, this is it. They're going to do it. They're going to win. And that was exactly the same. Like, you write them off. You go, oh, get 60 minutes, they'll fall off and they'll end up losing the game. But they did. They stuck in there, and I was gutted. To not see him. You must come up against him, mate. That Ange Capuzzo, he's tearing up for Toulouse.
Yeah, he's at Toulouse. Yeah. So I've only played him once this year. He's at Grenoble before, I think.
Is he as small as he seems on the TV? I mean, has he got smaller arms than us?
Maybe even you. I'm not sure about me. He's doing a bit of gym work. But I think he actually got an interception against me when we played him there and ran the length. But I think the way he plays and the style of rugby that Toulouse has, he fits in really well. It's that kind of open, free flowing, having a go yourself, taking them on, a lot of footwork and beating defenders and looking for the offload. So it suits him really well. And look what he did like last Six Nations against Wales, against us, and what he's done. He's a class player.
Would that have been a club that you would have been excited about playing in?
Yeah, I spoke to them as well before I signed with Aston. I spoke to a few clubs, but nothing came of it. They've also got Entomac there, so they might not be looking for a team to come in. But definitely it was a club I spoke to a couple of times, but nothing really came of it.
But give us a flavour of some of the tasty offers that came your way. Any sort of left field clubs or destinations?
No, I think there's a lot of chat at different clubs. My French agent, he was saying that there's chat with different tens coming to Racing, which might have opened a few things up. And he was kind of saying once 110 moves, that then starts the sort of chain reaction after it. And then when I think Biggs, when he's too long, we're looking for a 10. So I think when Biggs signed there, then none of the other 10s in France really moved. And then my UK agent, he was got a couple of offers here, Bath are keen, and I'd actually spoken to Bath. When I signed with Racing, I spoke a little bit to Bath, but I said I was really set on going to France at that point. So it was quite funny days kind of come back in now, and that's where I'm going. So so like I say, there's a couple of teams in the Prem that my agent was saying that would be keen. I think Bristol might have been one, and Northampton obviously the bigger leaving, but Bath were the team that showed the most interest, and I got on really well with the coach, so it's quite not too hard a decision. And then
any other clubs further afield? Were there any thoughts around sort of Japan, the MLR, or anything like that?
Would you have gone to Japan?
Nah, I think especially with a little one coming along, I think it's too soon. And I think if I would go to Japan, I don't know how it would work out with international stuff. So I'd probably have to give that up, I'd imagine. So that it could have been an option, but I just said to my agent not to even look there because I didn't want to go yet. MLR could have been all right, but I think Israel for international stuff, and I'm not sure what the level's like over there, so I didn't fancy that yet either. So it's either going to be France or the Prem that I was going to go to or stay in.
33 is a great age to move somewhere like Japan or America. I'm 33 at the moment.
Any agents listening?
Get in contact.
Anybody out there? Anybody out there?
Finn, what exactly about the French culture is it that you are so drawn to?
I think the rugby side, it's like when you're on the pitch, they have long lunches, which is fine, but it's like real chilled. And then when you go on the pitch, it's like you're there for rugby, obviously. And then outside of that, it seems very relaxed. I might be, I don't know, misjudging it, but it seems really relaxed. Everyone seems not in a rush. It's like I say, long lunches, long dinners, very chilled, very social. No one's like rushing to get food, and then it seems more sociable. I think, like say after games, you could play 9 o'clock at night, and then you book somewhere for dinner at 12:30 to go in, have dinner and a couple of drinks, and chill out till whatever time. So for some people, it might be tough to come over and adapt, but for me, I'm pretty laid back, obviously. So I just kind of went over there and just went with the flow, I think. If we'd have had kids before, it might be different, obviously, try to get them settled into school and getting all that done. But I think I found it pretty easy to get settled into the culture and the team and the rugby and everything.
Just really quickly touching on that, Andy told me about, have you heard what they do after a game in Racing on the pitch?
No.
Tell us what they do, because it sounds ridiculous, Finn.
Have you been at a game there or not?
I've not been yet.
No,
no one's invited me.
Again, put the call out. It's pretty cool, though. I don't think it's a great... I like it there.
Yeah, so it's almost like a U-shape, the stadium, the stands. And one end's obviously the big screen. And then the opposite end from the big screen behind the post, they've taken some of the seats out. So they've got like either beer pong tables or table tennis tables. They've got bars and stuff like that. A few games at one end of it, so you can stand there. I'm not sure I think you can watch the game there, but I'm not entirely sure. You can be there for when we're warming up anyway. And then after the game, they bring a kind of barrier out to maybe 35 metres from the goal line at that end where the bar is, and have a DJ playing and have all the fans or whoever wants they can come onto the pitch after and have drinks with music on. And it's not a nightclub, obviously, but it's kind of like that. They've also got music on. And stuff like that.
How good? How good is that? Like we talk, we always talk on here. Like, how do you make rugby better? How do you make people want to go to the games? That's how you do it. You got to have loads of bloody money, but
so the players still kick about, like everybody's just kicking about. So it's just mixing, mingling. Everybody gets a chance to chat.
You get slightly separated, don't you?
So we'll go in and get changed and stuff like that. Obviously, then you go upstairs to the hospitality bits. But if let's say I've got friends over, they can go and stand in that bar, then I can come down and see them all after and just have a couple of drinks with them there or chill out with them there, as well as other fans obviously being there. So I think it's only open like an hour or an hour and a half after the game, but quite often, like I say, the boys, if they've got friends up here in the stands, they can go and catch up with them there, which is pretty good. But the weirdest one's when it's like a 3 o'clock kickoff and you finished at 6:30 at night or whatever by the time you leave, and you think it's really dark inside, you go outside and it's like sunny. So obviously in the stadiums it's dark, you go outside and it's like still like early evening. So
it does. It's a mad stadium, and it's like a cinema. It's mental.
So
we need to
cool.
go down.
Yeah.
We need to go and have watch Finn play and have a night out as well there. But Finn, we're just going to finish off with our quick fire round. Pretty simple. First thing that comes into your head: best player you've ever played with.
maybe Virame at his best.
Oh, it's a good one.
Good shout.
Yeah,
Good shout.
power.
Best player you've ever played against?
I think Jalabert, he does some class things. He's maybe not the best I've ever played against, but he does some class things in the pitch.
Biggest fight you've ever witnessed in training?
Al Kellock and DTH.
I'm trying to remember. Are they swinging? Are they? God, those were the days.
We were playing that tiki-taki.
Oh yes, I do remember that. What happened? Were we not playing football?
Yeah, that was that tiki-taki game. You pass the ball and big Al didn't go in the middle. Not a full punch up, but a big. I don't know. Bernard Leroux and the Georgian guy lasted a few years ago was a decent one. They both got sent to the showers after it. So
Together. Yeah, they made up with the
kids. Yeah, it didn't really make sense. Have a fight and get sent to the showers together.
Biggest enemy in rugby?
I don't know. I don't think Hooper probably. He in that 2017 tour he kept smashing me after the ball. It didn't wind me up, but I was just kind of like, why? Like, I know what you're trying to do, mate, but just chill out a bit, please.
Which present or past player do you reckon you'd be best mates with if you knew them?
Everyone did say me and Dan Carter would get along really well.
Can you imagine it? Can you imagine those two out on the piss together? Holy hecker.
Finn, party bus, biggest night of your life. Which three players are in the cab with you?
Again, like off the stories, probably Dan Carter would be up there. He seems like he'd be a good laugh. Wilson, because he's a bit mad.
You got in there.
It's just who else? Just saying that because Wilson's on this.
Yeah, I knew. Some good nights together.
Who else?
Mark experienced a little bit of Wilson the other night.
Fucking the 12 faces of Ryan Wilson is unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, let's not go too far.
Greg Laidlaw. He's good fun.
Oh yeah, we won't say what his name is.
Best thing about Ryan Wilson, whilst you got him here and he's in the middle of enjoying having his pal on.
He makes me look good in the gym.
Very true. Ugh. I'll make everyone look good in the gym.
No, his shoulders. Definitely the best feature.
Old trout shoulders.
Mate, you should see me. I wore a rucksack here. It doesn't even stay on my shoulders anymore. It just slides off. I can't even keep it on. So I've got, like the dad strap. The dad strap across the front that clicks it on. I have to put that on, otherwise it falls off my back. You got shoulders like a Coke bottle. Oh, no. I love you, Finley boy. Fucking good to have you on, man.
Well, sadly, that's all the time we've got left for this week. A huge thank you to Finn for chatting to us. Best of luck for the rest of the Six Nations. Huge thank you as well to Ryan and to Max, as always. And to you all for listening and watching, and we will see you all next week.